Why maybe just won't cut it anymore. How to use emotional intelligence to keep promises. You're tired of people not keeping their promises to you. Over and over again, you're left holding the bag because they didn't keep their end of the bargain. You're frustrated because you've been waiting with bated breath for a mate to commit to you for years. Now you're wondering, is there something wrong with you? When it comes time for someone to show up for you in a big way, the only way they'll do it is if you keep applying pressure. You feel as if no one finds you worthy of their best intentions. A commitment is a decision to take an action and follow it through to fruition, completion, or even to the end of the term. A commitment is not a promise you make to agree to something as long as it feels good, or as long as it's easy, or as long as it doesn't require you to stretch yourself, right? That's how some people look at commitment. Hey, this is Brains and Baubles Live. I'm Davinadandrige, your guide to all things savvy and sophisticated. Today, we're delving into the crucial topic of commitment. It's not just about keeping promises, it's about understanding how commitment shapes our lives. But before we dive in, remember to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. You don't want to miss our sophisticated wisdom. I'm always sharing things and dropping nuggets each week. So stick around to the end. I have something special to help you on your path to personal growth, to emotional growth. Okay. But jumping right into it, I love the phrase that says, let your yes mean yes and your no mean no. Commitment, however, goes deeper than that. Fulfilling a commitment either shows people how emotionally intelligent you are or that you have not developed confidence in certain areas of your life. I'll show you how to make commitment instead of empty promises and how your level of commitment is related to your level of emotional intelligence. So here's the first thing. Making a commitment is different from making a promise. The first type of commitment anyone thinks of is about a relationship. And relationships are important in our lives, especially love relationships. And you can watch any television reality show, any court show. I have several of them that I think are great. They are great information for case studies. The thing that you find out is that people don't have the same level of commitment in relationships. And that's where the problem comes in. They don't understand exactly how their yes or their no impacts the other person in the relationship. Okay. While relationships are a big commitment, and I understand how they impact and they are important in most people's lives. But there are other elements of commitment that are important as well. And one of the ways that commitment is important is when you have contractual agreements. So, yeah, okay, we know the relationship part, right? But when you make a contractual agreement, you still have an obligation to follow it through to the end, right? You do understand that. So when you sign up to go to work, that's a contractual agreement. You have an agreement to come in and perform a task for so many hours to get the result that your employer wants, and they'll pay you for it. That is your agreement when you work for someone. Or when you borrow money, you have a contractual agreement to pay that back in a certain amount of time. Or even when you buy things on time, you have an agreement to complete the payment as you said you would, right? So not keeping these commitments have impactful consequences, but they're only short term. The most important commitment that you can make is to you, is to yourself. Okay, you may get away with lying to other people about how you feel, about what you're going to do, or what you have, right? But if you make promises to yourself and you choose not to see that thing through, then the upkept promise to yourself has dire emotional impact on how you see yourself. it ruins your self-esteem. And self-esteem and confidence, you got to have that in order to make any change or transformation in your life. Words are so important to how you see yourself and how we see ourselves, and also to what happens in our lives, because our words can tailor what we do. They can tailor how we feel about a situation. They can create the outcome. So it's important for you to shape your words in a way that's going to best benefit and get to the result that you want. And that starts by keeping your word to other people and keeping your word to yourself. Because what we say outwardly and what we think to ourselves matter. The words you're saying yourself, that negative self-talk, that matters. That is impacting you. So if you keep lying to the one person who knows you better than anyone else, you'll never have the confidence to do that big thing or anything big, or change your environment because you don't believe that you can do it. You've let yourself down over and over again. And you have to say the right things, and you make commitments to yourself that you know you're not going to keep as you're saying it. Like you'll say, I promise I'll stop seeing him. Now you're saying this to yourself, but you do it anyway. This is the last time I'm going to poach a client from work. But yet you see an avenue for you to make a couple of extra dollars and you take it. Or I'm going to try to stop eating after 6 o'clock and I'm going to work out more. You have made a promise to yourself, but you haven't made a commitment to yourself. Even if you consider what you're telling yourself to be a fib or a little white lie, it has lasting impact on your emotion. Here's a commitment you can make right now. And I promise you that it will change the way you see yourself immediately. This one commitment that you make to yourself can change who you are. Make a commitment to yourself to stop saying the first thing that comes to your mind, because you haven't worked on your thoughts yet, because your emotions are still all over the place. Because it goes, if you work on your emotions, then you'll change your thinking, and your thinking impacts your behavior, or what you see as acceptable behavior, which then changes your environment. So you can't just say what comes to your head because you haven't managed that part of your emotions yet. You haven't tailored or trained yourself to think the right things so that you can say the right things. And there is a right thing and a wrong thing to say in most situations, right? Because right now, you don't believe that other people want to or will keep their word to you. It's been evidenced by your past history. People don't keep their word to you. Making and keeping a commitment is a decision that someone makes, right? It's not just lip service. You have to make a decision to do something. You'll make a commitment because you believe it's what the other person wants to hear, right? Or you'll make a commitment because it's convenient and it will get you out of some hot seat, right? And the only reason you're in that hot seat is because you didn't keep your commitment or keep your word in the first place, okay? And you will make a commitment because you can get away with not keeping your word, because the other person or the person you made the commitment to is not empowered to do anything about you lying. Think about that. There's someone that you lied to just for the simple fact that they couldn't do anything about it if you changed your mind or you didn't keep your word. But that has lasting impact because they know it and you know it too, that your intention was not to keep your word. If you regularly practice any of the three that I just named, right, those are commitment violations. So you don't trust anybody. How could you trust anyone in your life to do what they say they're going to do? I have a secret for you. If you are a regular violator, you already know that you lie. And people tie your behavior to your character. If you are a commitment violator, that means that you make excuses when you don't want to say what you're going to do. Okay. Your character says to people that you are selfish because you give lip service to save yourself, save your own behind. One of the main characteristics of a sophisticated person is that they are self aware and they are socially aware because they understand that their behavior impacts other people. You don't believe other people will keep their word with you because they don't. They don't keep their word with you right now. You've demonstrated to the people around you your standard. And now they treat you like you've shown them. You can change your default response you get from people by being a person that makes a commitment and keeps it. You don't believe you are worthy of achieving the things you want in life. And that shows up in how you commit to yourself. You don't believe that the things that you want are really possible for you because you have made commitments to yourself that you haven't kept. So you don't think, and you're right, that you're the person to do that. But I'm here to tell you, you can become the person who can do that by changing your thoughts about making commitments. Okay, I have a video called Your Self Worth is Giving Mediocre. And go back and watch that video because it talks about just what the importance is of building your self-worth is. And once you've built your self-worth and you have confidence because you have done things in your life, you can commit to certain things. You can let your no mean no and your yes mean yes because you know what you're capable of doing. You know, there was a time in my own life when my self-worth was weak. I used to think that I was behind the eight ball in life and that all of my friends were somehow more advanced than I was. And that was because I was comparing myself to other people. I thought that everyone else had their motivation and they had more motivation than I did. I thought, what's wrong with me? You know, how come I'm just not out here hustling and grinding like the other women I see, or other women in my circle, or the other women I know? Why am I not out here doing what I got to do to get where I got to go? I just didn't have it in me. I didn't feel like I was matching up to the motivation or the energy that other people were giving behind what it is that they wanted to do. I didn't think I had the hustle in me because I hadn't gone through enough in my life. And, you know, fortunately, I went through my childhood pretty much unscathed. Thank you, Jesus. But I have had issues like everybody else, but I never felt the need like if I don't go out there and do something strange for change, stuff is not going to get done. So I figured that I just didn't have the hustle, the drive that other people had that had other backgrounds. But I was wrong. I was wrong, first of all, because I was comparing myself to someone else. Comparing yourself can send you down a rabbit hole of working at places you have no business working or engaging with people you have no business engaging with. You weren't even meant to meet certain people, and now they have impacted your life because they impact your thinking and impact your behavior because they're part of your environment. That's why it wasn't until I decided that what other people do or what other people have has nothing to do with me. Not at all. That's when I started promising myself certain things. Like, I am committed to completing the task that I sign up for, whatever it is. If I commit to do something at work, if I commit to do something in my relationship for a friend in the community, if I give my word, then my word is my bond. That's what my mom used to say. Your word is your bond. I'm like, Mom, you're not a gangster. Where you get that from? But she is a gangster. Anyway, I am committed to keeping the task that I sign up for. Okay. I agree to do the things that work for me, though. Like, I can't just agree to commit to things just because someone asked me. It has to work for me so I can follow through. As a former people pleaser, that lesson was a hard one to learn There are some instances where no is the answer, and I have to be confident within myself to let my no mean no. Okay. And then here's the most important thing that I promise myself: I will only compare myself to myself of the past. That's it. I will only compare myself to myself of the past, not this person over here, not someone on television, not someone on social media. The only person that I need to compare myself is the person that I was yesterday, or the person that I was last month, last quarter, last year, a decade ago. What am I doing to better myself? What am I doing to see more, to have more experiences in life? What am I doing? I need to compare who I was before to where I am now. And that's going to track my success, not how I stack up to somebody who is faking in the first place or not sharing all of the information that's going on with them. You got to know that, right? That what you see about other people is just what they allow you to see. So you comparing yourself to someone else, you're not comparing yourself to a full picture. So you may as well only compare yourself to something that you know about, and that's you. Okay. So motivation is all about the inner fire, not trying to meet somebody else's standard. Your ability to keep yourself going, driven by your personal fulfillment rather than seeking external praise and rewards. So if you're waiting to get motivated or boost your self-worth when you hear one of your peers or your compadres give you a pat on the back or an atta girl, then you might just be waiting. You don't have to wait to hear from somebody else to recognize what that you need to be committed to something. Commit to yourself so you can have small triumphs on the way to your big goal, and that's when you will get the congratulations after you've completed. And you know what? If you don't get the congratulations, and you might not, especially if you're looking for it from a certain person, you have to be content within yourself that you've completed something that you set your mind to, you committed to it, and you did it. You did it. So you can congratulate yourself, because when you tap into self motivation, it tends to boost your commitment and keeps you laser focused on your goals. You don't get derailed or distracted by someone else's conversation or what someone else suggested that you should do or what someone else is doing in general. You don't get distracted by that. You are laser focused on your intention. Okay. So start with the commitments that I said. Start with that, those commitments to yourself. And as you make a habit of only making commitments that work for you, you will begin to view your capabilities differently. You'll learn how strong you are, how much you can persevere, how resilient you are, because you don't let what's happening around you or with other people change what your commitment is. Only you can change what your commitment is. And just like you can give notice to someone else when you're not going to be able to keep your word, which is reasonable, you can also make an adjustment within your own commitment. But that's not an excuse. Okay. We're not talking about excuses. We're talking about changing commitments. But you will have more capabilities than you thought you had. You'd have more positive interactions with people because your circle's going to change. You're going to get new people. People will trust you more. You will trust people more. You will become more trusting and more trustworthy, especially in the romantic area. If you keep your word for the small things in your romance, you are showing your mate the standard, and they'll come up to the standard. Or if they don't come up to the standard, their standard is no longer your standard, then you have to make some other decisions. I'm not talking about marriage now. I'm talking about in relationships that are either not married or working their way to commitment. So you'll start to stretch the possibilities of what life can look like for you. Where you are right now is not where you're destined to stay. You have control over that. Just like the people know when you lie whether or not you say you're going to do something or not, people will also recognize your emotional growth. They see it. People see it. Your behavior and your character are tied together. So here's a warning for you, though. This transformation from a commitment violator to an empowered, sophisticated woman, and it's not going to sit well with everybody. Okay? Everybody's not going to get it. It won't sit well with your current environment because there's a certain standard in your current environment that you need to elevate yourself from in order to do what it is that you want to do. So as your self-worth increases, so does your standards. What was once acceptable behavior towards you is no longer acceptable by you. Okay? When you start creating boundaries and reaching for more in life, some people will not want to accept the different you, the more sophisticated you, the dependable you, the you that is exploring new things, meeting new people, and switching things up. They're not going to want that because they're comfortable at a certain level. And now you're moving outside of that. Some of the people in your current environment, you will consider you different. They'll even start throwing different terms and phrases at you to try to get you back to where you were before, where they're comfortable with you being. You know, in the past, I've been called bougie, but that's going to be another whole show because, you know, some definitions of bougie are different. Now, if you're calling me bougie because I like things that you don't like, or I like things that new things, that things I hadn't talked about before, then you have some problem, not me. So if you want to call me bougie, whatever you think that means, okay, okay. You're going to hear people tell you that you live in pipe dreams or you have pipe dreams. Or once you start building success, they're going to say to you, oh, you need to be humble because that could be taken away from you. You know why they say that? They don't have the courage to make the change and transformation in your life. So by you making these changes, doing different things, exploring different things, and having different interests, they are going to also call you crazy. Oh, that girl crazy. She thinks she about to be something different. She thinks she a housewife. She ain't no housewife. Or she thinks she's a mogul. Like she ain't no real boss. You know what? Anybody talking negative about what you're doing is not someone you need in your life in the first place. So let them kick rocks. So because you've begun to make commitments to yourself and keep them, the people in your life make it uncomfortable dealing with the emotionally intelligent version of yourself. Your thinking has changed. Some people will embrace the person you're becoming, and you might even be surprised by the persons or the people who can't handle it. They want you to stay right where you are. Make a commitment to yourself to get better than you were yesterday. Thanks for tuning in to Brains and Baubles Live. I hope our talk on commitment got you thinking. Remember, it's not just about pledges, what you pledge to other people. It's about how your commitments shape your life. Okay. And if you're eager to boost your personal growth, check out our sophisticated empowerment course. Head over to sec.davinadandrige.com. SEC for sophisticated empowerment course.davinadandrige.com to learn more and take the first steps towards a brighter you. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and ring the bell. Stay tuned for more highlights on personal growth. I'm always here to support you, okay? Remember that. Until next time, remember, commitment is the key to a more sophisticated you. Bye-bye now.